shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
Alrighty, Armchair Army, welcome back to Armchair Mixed Martial Arts. This is Joshua as always, and today with me I've got my first guest.
Noe Lopez. I play a little music. I've done some martial arts in my late teens. I did it on and off for the past 12, 13 years. You could find me on social media, Instagram, Noe Lopez, STX. That's NOELOEPZ. STX. All right.
And then I've also got with me my sonny boy, Theo Dorby. No. Are you Theo?
Oh, dude, I thought that was Hasbullah, man. No, I'm kidding.
He's a whole 2-year-old. A big old 2-year-old. Some extenuating family circumstances made it so that he had to be in studio tonight. And I don't miss. I had Noe on the calendar, and there's no stopping UFC 280, and so we had to go ahead and get it going. So before we dive too far off into 280, I did want to go over a couple of the fight cards that happened before then, just to kind of keep my typical format going, if you'll bear with me for just a second. Mm-hmm. So the very first set of fights that happened after UFC 279, which was Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson, that whole crazy fiasco, was Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong, which was a super fun fight. Corey Sandhagen managed to get it done. Was a TKO between the fourth and the fifth. I believe the doctor stopped it. Do I recall that right?
Yeah.
And then we also had Gregory Rodriguez beat up Chidi Njukwai. And I'm a big RoboCop believer at this point. I actually picked against him on the podcast once and made him look like a fool, and so I'm not picking against him anymore. The dude is a legitimate beast.
I got a pretty cool story about Chidi.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I was younger, I was training mixed martial arts, one of my training partners, Chidi's first fight was against one of my old training partners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How neato.
Chidi won. Chidi kind of...
Did he how'd that fight go?
He kind of fucked my old training partner up. Yeah, and Chidi was a kid. He was 17 years old. And George, if you're watching, I love you, buddy. But we that fight's out there on the web. We know how that went. Hey, man, I would have lost that fight too. Fuck.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean the guy's in the UFC now. He probably beats the ass out of 99% of people.
Yeah, dude. Chidi's a bad motherfucker. His brother is Anthony Njokwani.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because my old trainers, they used to brag about, hey, we were just brought into this camp to help George with his conditioning. It's yeah, but hey, I mean, he stuck it out. He took the ass whooping, that was us. It's like, motherfucker, he lost. It was rough to watch, but...
Bro,
yeah.
People don't realize how vicious some of these ass whoopings are till you're in person, too.
Yeah, it's ooh.
Online, and you're watching it on TV, you see these guys getting smacked, the ground and pound on the ground. You're like, he could have kept eating shots. Bro, when you're there in real life and you hear that leather smacking up the side of their head, it's like, no, they don't need to take any more of them. That's violent.
It's something, though, about, there's something visceral about seeing it, like the quality off, a phone. Like a camera phone, that's what the footage is. So it looks a little more ooh, it doesn't look as well produced, a UFC
60 frames a second.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fucking little camera phone. It's god damn, that looks bad.
Nothing compares to being there though. For me,
nah, forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to a few fights live now, and a few semi-pro and the bottom rung of the pro circuit, to where these guys know how to fight, but the arena ain't necessarily packed. And so you get to be right there on top of it, and man, it can be painful to watch, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure be painful to watch.
Feel uncomfortable in the room. The fucking family sitting behind you. You're like, god damn.
Yeah, man. One time, shout out my buddy Dylan King, Killer King. He was fighting in Colorado, and he beat the hell out of this dude, and me and my boys were going ape shit. And then turns out the guy who Dylan had beat up's family was literally right in front of us as we were going completely ape shit.
Same. I had a similar story. The guy who fought Chidi, George, he had a fight, and this one went a lot better. He won, and like didn't even realize that. I think the guy's family who he was fighting was either behind us or in front of us. And I remember yelling, "Yeah, fucking George, fucking take him down." I don't remember what the fuck I was yelling.
You rip his dick off.
Yeah, I wasn't fucking. I might have been trying to like shout like corner advice. I mean, I wasn't in his corner, but we were like, I was part of the.
Of course,
team.
you're there. You're amped. You're doing the whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, watch out, he's going for a triangle. Like the obvious, stating the obvious, like I'm fucking somebody.
Yeah, like you're helping him while he's like a third the way in a triangle choke.
He's like, shut the fuck up. No way, I can't hear the corner.
Yeah.
Your stupid little voice is cutting through a little too much. But yeah, and then us realizing, dude, I think that's the guy's family behind us. And just be like, fucking.
It's like, hey, sorry I'm so enthusiastically supporting my friend.
Yeah. That's a good win, by the way, though, for Gregory to beat Chidi, man.
Oh yeah, it's a big feather in his cap. Like he's the tests only get more legitimate for RoboCop from here.
Yeah, that guy's. You know that motherfucker's only like 31.
Chidi or RoboCop?
RoboCop.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds about right.
He looks 40.
Yeah, he definitely just that bald ass head, bro.
I guess that's what it is.
Definitely makes you look a lot older whenever you got the bald head.
Very tan. Looks like a Cuban. But he's Brazilian.
So then the next set of fights that came after that was Mackenzie Dern versus Yan Zanon. How do you say that last name?
I don't know, dude. I'm Mexican.
And also she's Asian, so I think that Zanon is her first name technically. Like it's the one they keep. I don't fucking know.
It's like Fedor Emelianenko. It's Emelianenko Fedor or Fyodor or whatever the way they pronounce it.
Who knows? I'm gonna call her Yan.
And
yeah. She definitely got a surprising win. Because ever since Mackenzie Dern, that kiddo's gonna mess with your drink. That's as long as you're cool, I'm cool. Okay. But ever since Mackenzie Dern has had that kiddo of hers, she has been not missing weight. She's been looking on top of the world. Her physique has been on point. Her grappling's been on point. Her takedowns were looking better. I was really thinking that she was going to be able to get some good takedowns. I thought that she was going to actually be able to get the fight to the ground. Yeah. And if anything, be able to, with her good jiu-jitsu, be able to just march forward and fearlessly strike and through some of that chaos get the fight to the ground. And that moment never came,
Yeah, I heard a lot of people like make the argument that some of those like rounds that she won could have been like a 10-8, 7. I mean, yeah, like 10-8, 10-7 rounds.
Are you talking about in the Yan fight?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't feel like any of them were that dominant.
Okay, some people made that argument online.
Yeah, man, you've got to be in my world. You got to be like really, really hurting. So we got to be like nearly finishing the fight. Like it needs to be a situation where you were saved by the bell, or something heroic happened and you managed to stay alive. But you've got to be flying really close to the sun for you to get a 10-8 in my world.
That's fair. A lot of people, I know I just read a lot, like people say that they felt like she got robbed and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, well, it doesn't fucking really matter. The results are fucking in.
You're saying that some of the rounds should have been 10-8 for Dern.
Yes.
So Dern was definitely very dominant in her grappling when it happened, but whenever I watched it live, I didn't think there was a single 10-8 round in either direction.
So what happened in the later rounds? Because unfortunately I didn't catch that fight, but did she try to strike with Yan?
Yeah, well, so towards the end of the third round, it seemed as though the idea of getting a takedown for Mackenzie was pretty much out the window, right? Yeah. Like Jan's takedown defense was really, really good. And Yan was staying very technical in the striking, so she was never really overextending and never really getting herself put in situations where Dern could judo throw her. Like there were no awkward situations where Dern was able to drag it to the ground. And anytime Dern was going for a takedown, it was on Jan's terms, and so Yan was defending them very effectively. And yeah, it was clearly Jan's fight in my world. Like whenever it got to the decision, I was like, wow, Yan just won that fight. And so
did Dern make the attempts to go for the takedowns, or did she try to like?
So again, she tried to do the takedowns early in the fight, and it just wasn't to a tremendous amount of success. And so, hey, why don't you go over there and do that over there, so that way he'll not be hitting the tripod. I don't mind if you walk past the camera.
Yeah, it's always so weird to me when you see these specialists all of a sudden try to like get outside of their like. I get it, it's MMA or whatever, so they gotta like be well rounded. But dude, you know what you're good at. Like you know what you're good at. You know that like your bread and butter is grappling. Why try to strike with someone who is like kind of known for that shit? Now there's times when people have their success, and stuff. And
Well, I don't think that's necessarily what happened in this fight. I feel like Dern has always predominantly gotten her fights to the ground by just being able to march forward and strike, because there's a big advantage that you get whenever you're striking when you have the ability to know that, like, worst case scenario, they take me down and then we're in my world. You know what I'm saying? Son, move around, move. And so, you can march forward and throw big bombs, because what's going to happen? I'm going to get off balance, they're going to take me down, and guess what? I'm going to put them in a triangle choke at that point. And so I think that she was able to rely on that marching forward and putting people in uncomfortable striking circumstances that people aren't used to being in, because most people have to be considerate of going to the ground, right? Whereas if she put herself in an awkward position and the fight goes to the ground, she's now in her world, right? So she was able to just use that as like a crutch to strike better, and that's been enough until she's gotten to the top of the totem pole. And again, in her last couple fights, she'd managed to get some actual single leg takedowns and stuff. Like, I thought she was looking a lot better with her wrestling, and it just didn't all come together for her. Jan was really good. She looked really good. And then in that same card, Randy Brown beat Francisco Trinaldo in a 3-round decision. Which
is Trinaldo at welterweight?
Yeah, he is.
Shit, he went up.
Yeah, and he's like 43 or 44. He's old. He's an old head at this point.
Yeah, because he was at lightweight, and he's right.
I'm not. I can't quite recall exactly offhand. I do believe. Did he fight it?
He fought. Yeah, he fought at lightweight, because at one time I remember he fought. Damn it, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know he fought at lightweight because I remember he fought Vic.
You just remember him fighting down there?
Yeah.
James Vic.
Yeah, James Vic. Yeah, he fought James Vic.
Yeah, and James Vic was a 55 or whatever.
And then he went
UFC.
up to welterweight and got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, his chin went at 55, then he went up to 70, and his chin was super gone at that point.
So I guess that guy made the jump too then.
So the next card was Grasso versus Araujo. I always thought it was Araujo, but they were saying Araujo.
Portuguese pronunciation is a little different from Spanish.
Well, if that's Portuguese, then they shouldn't be pronouncing the R. It shouldn't be Araujo. It should be Araujo, because the R makes the H.
Yes, it's weird.
So it's like, I don't fucking know.
It's like they don't say Jose Aldo, they say Jose.
Yeah, the J actually makes J, and the R makes the silent, like the silent H, like the J does in Spanish. And so I had a friend. I had an acquaintance whose last name was Araujo, and so that's how they pronounce it in Spanish, and so that's how I've always called her. But either way, she didn't get the W. The night was Alexa Grasso's, and if I'm not mistaken, that was Alexa Grasso's. It was either her first main event, or it was her first time actually making it to championship rounds in a main event. It was the first time she saw round 4 and 5 in the UFC, and she got the job done. So that's something to be super proud of.
Oh yeah, she's badass. I actually a fan of her. She's real technical. Rajo, what fight did she have prior to this one? She had a pretty big one.
I ain't exactly sure offhand. I don't have those stats in front of me. All I have is the...
I know I looked it up too. I'm kind of curious. Let me take a look.
Theodore, hey, son, why don't you come up here? Come here. Son, come here. Come here. You're getting a little too riled up. Come here.
She beat Andrea Lee.
I don't like her. I say I don't like her. I don't like that she hangs around people who have swastika tattoos.
I think it's kind of fucking cool. Nah, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's lame,
it's
bro.
Pretty edgy, dude. Nah.
Yeah, it's real lame. But man, in the co-main, Jonathan Martinez looked like a world beater, bro.
Oh.
Did you watch his most recent set of fights?
Damn it, bro. I'm getting put on the spot. I'm not.
You didn't watch
I'm
him?
looking like a casual right now, man. Fuck.
It's okay,
dude. I know he leg kicked the fuck out of.
So, bro, he had him beat at the end of the first. I can't believe that Herb Dean let it go to the second, to be really frank. And he was throwing these vicious head kicks the whole time. And it seemed like he didn't even care if they were going to land or not. He was just happy to bash Cub Swanson's elbows, right? Like, was just happy to take the gas out of his arms. And finally one got through, and it binked him, and he swarmed him, and he came out in the second, Cub did, in the second round after surviving that big swarm, and just, you could tell he was hurt, he wasn't quite right, and then he started catching him with the inside leg kicks to the lead leg, and it was bad. He hit him with like 4 real good ones in the second round.
Yeah.
And Cub fell to his back, and then Martinez hit him a couple real hard times while he was on the ground, and the ref called it. And it was a good stoppage, bro. But the point is that Jonathan Martinez has arrived. He looked really great. And also, Dusko Todorovic, in his fight against Jordan Wright, looked really good. Granted, Jordan Wright, I think that was actually literally the first time he'd ever gone to a second round in the UFC, so his gas tank was maybe a little bit suspect. But I know that Jordan Wright looked like massively gassed in the second round, and he had won the first round. Dusko lost the first round, but Dusko managed to get on top of him, dropped just hellacious elbows on top of elbows, and just ground and pounded him until the ref had to stop it. It was a good stoppage, in my opinion, there as well. And so now that takes us up to the actual namesake of this. We're doing a UFC 280 preview here, and we're just now getting to where we're even talking about UFC 280. And so, wow, they've got. I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but obviously the main event is Charles Oliveira and Islam Mockachev. How do you see that one going? Son.
I think an interesting stat between the two of them is that Oliveira's pretty much finished every opponent he's fought, like in the past few fights, with the exception of Ferguson. They went 3 rounds. I don't think he's gone past 3 rounds, like in a few fights. And I can't remember the last time he went into championship rounds. Honestly, I don't think he ever has.
I don't know that stat directly offhand, but I know that they're both a little chinny, right? Like, Charles has definitely gotten clipped and has definitely gotten knocked on his ass by at least the last 3 or 4 opponents that he's had. Yeah. And I know that Islam Mockachev has been actually knocked out in the UFC, and so they're both a little suspect.
Lucas Martins.
Yeah, and so,
Wait, was it Lucas?
I'm not sure offhand, but I know that Islam Mockachev has been very vocal in the media about how whenever he knocks down Charles Oliveira, he's going to follow him to the ground. That's one thing that has been happening is every time everybody's so worried about DuBronx's jiu-jitsu and attacking from the ground that they aren't following him to the ground, and Islam thinks that
they're not committing.
Yeah, well, and again, it's like the classic Sambo versus jiu-jitsu thing. I remember Khabib wearing that shirt back in the day. If Sambo was easy, they'd call it jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's one of those old rivalries going down between just those two martial arts, and I do believe that Islam is going to go to the ground with him. I don't know necessarily how that's going to go. I mean, if you had to pick it, how would you pick it?
If I had to bet,
it was your money on the line.
Fuck, bro, that's a tough one. Just because, like, shit, bro. 8 fights ago, I would have bet Mockachev all day, But just like lately, with the momentum that DuBronx has been carried, and a lot of people have had a tendency to just test his heart. Everyone's always like, he's given up, he's quit, he's folded, like whether whatever it may be, like in his previous fights.
Yeah.
He's definitely folded, but I mean, it's a fucking fight, bro.
That was a long time ago. If you caught him folding, when was the last time he lost?
Last fight that he lost was to Paul Felder, and it was elbows in full guard. He got caught in full guard, and fucking Paul Felder just bam, bam, bam. So that was some fights ago. Now, what a lot of people don't even take into consideration is right now is, I feel like, DuBronx's like mind and body are at the right place now. Where back then, he might have been, he was fucking young, dude. He came into the UFC when he was like 20, 21 or some shit.
He's definitely one of the younger guys whenever he came in.
Yeah.
He's got almost like one of those Max Holloway type trajectories. You know what I'm saying? Where Max came in real young and got some big testament. Max Holloway fought Conor McGregor on the come up.
Yeah, it was like his third fight, I think, of the promotion.
Something like that.
He's won a lot of good ones. He's like lost some. He's lost against fucking Dennis Bermudez. Like, you know, it's like he's lost against Poirier was his debut fight, and I remember watching Holloway fight him. But anyways, back to the so I mean, it just sucks because you see all these blemishes on Oliveira's record, you know, and Mockachev has the one that like flash knockdown against the Brazilian. You know, he got caught with that crazy lead hook. And oh man, if I had to bet money on it, I think I'd go. And I might end up regretting this. I'd go Mockachev only because he comes from a really good camp. Like, they're not stupid. Like, I do think because of their success, they watch footage, they watch video. They not to dismiss what's his name?
Oliveira and Shoot the Box.
Yeah. And is it Shooter Box? Mm-hmm. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, but not to dismiss those guys, but like as if they don't do that. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like, they're both on a roll. They're both hot as fuck right now, and you know that a lot of times Oliveira says he gets clipped because his eyesight is so fucking bad.
He got his eyes fixed.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I think he said his last fight was the first fight that he's been able to see. If I remember that correctly, I remember that being a quote. I remember Oliveira saying he's finally able to see. And that's also, I think he said why he was hitting people better too, because he was able to see finally. He was able to actually see them and hit them.
I think a lot of people are getting surprised by his fucking power, but the guy's not fucking small.
No,
he's big, and he's not a 20-year-old kid anymore. He's a 30-year-old man.
My thing is, I think it's going to be a firefight, and I think it's going to get crazy, and I think that with Dubronx in the Shoot the Box camp, knowing the way those guys train, how they hurt each other regularly.
Yeah.
And like, they go through practice scenarios where they are concussed. Is like the simplest way to put it, and I think that it does bad for their road miles, right? Like, it's not going to translate to having a very long career, but it does translate to having a good one. And
yeah.
I just think that with the way that Oliveira trains and the way that he's used to being in those firefight type of circumstances, the way they train at Shoot the Box,
yeah,
I think that's going to be the difference. I think that when it comes right down to it, it's going to be fireworks, and it can go either way, and there's going to be a moment where they're both hurt and everything's crazy, and someone's going to come out on top, and that's going to be Oliveira, because he's going to have a greater amount of practice time in those actual circumstances with the way that they train over in Shoot the Box. And I think that's going to be the difference.
Yeah, well, shit. I didn't realize it was a Shooter Box.
Right? It's like, who thought those guys were still even doing it? They've been around for forever.
Yeah, those guys are
that's like
notorious
Shogun
for the
in
gym
them,
wars.
you know what I'm saying? That's way back. That's OG camp.
Yeah, that's
Unless I'm just heinously wrong, which I hope I'm not. I
think you might be right.
I'm certain that I heard that. I mean, I've watched all the embeddeds and everything. I'm certain that it's Shoot the Box. But
yeah, I know the head coach was Rafael Cordeiro for a long time. Then you had Vanderlei, you had Silva was in it for a while too, and then he went to Black House with Nogueira. But damn, I'm trying to think of other things that might contribute to it. A lot of people have what Javier Mendes, AKA's head coach. He says that he thinks that Mockachev is a better striker than Khabib, because Khabib would try to stay well rounded and stuff.
Well, Khabib was never really known as a striker.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, not a lot of those Dagestani guys are. You know, they when you hear Dagestan, you're like, oh fuck, a wrestler, great.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Sambo. But yeah, no, like, Khabib, I don't think he was ever really great until he went to AKA, until he started training with Javier Mendes. That's when you start actually seeing, like,
that's when it all started to come together.
Yeah.
The martial arts started to mix more once he went to AKA for sure. So the next fight on the card is Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw. That's a really fun fight, which, man, shout out to Aljamain Sterling. I'll be the first one to admit that I didn't think that he was going to win against Peter Yan. I thought that Peter Yan was whooping his ass in the first fight, and that it was like a crazy, weird thing that led to Peter Yan getting that loss. And I thought that Peter Yan was going to come in angry and was going to get the damn thing done in convincing fashion against Aljamain Sterling when they had that rematch. And Aljamain Sterling proved me wrong, so personally, I'm going to pick Aljamain Sterling. Anytime that guys prove me wrong in, like, emphatic fashion, I tend to try and roll with those guys moving forward. Man, That, and also I feel like the win that TJ Dillashaw got over Corey Sandhagen that even has him on this trajectory right now is pretty fucking suspect.
Yeah.
I feel like there was some bad judging where... So there's a thing in judging, right, where it's supposed to be that you don't even consider the other variables if there's a clear differentiation between the first variable, right? Like, if someone had the more effective striking and there's clearly someone who had the more effective striking, then you don't even consider the octagon control and aggression and all that other shit. Like, that's all, like, if they both were equally as effective in their striking, then who was the more aggressive guy? Who controlled the center of the octagon? Like, that's how we're going to make those determinations. And I feel, and I even heard a podcast with Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy, who literally wrote the fucking rules, picking this exact bone. That the judges are considering these other things whenever they're not supposed to. It's only supposed to be considered if there isn't a clear winner based on the step before, right? Like, they have that hierarchy of the rules. If you can look at that first step on the hierarchy and it's effective striking or grappling, if someone was the clear victor there, then it's done. You don't need to. None of that other shit needs to even get considered.
Right.
And so I feel like in the Corey Sandhagen fight, like, you could fucking look at them. Corey Sandhagen didn't look like he got beat up, and TJ Dillashaw looked like he got his ass beat. Clearly, Corey Sandhagen had the more effective striking. Why doesn't this other shit even need to get considered? And so, I felt like it was all real sus to start, and so I gotta go Sterling on this one. How would you feel about it?
I don't think Sterling is Sandhagen. He's gonna have to. I feel like he's gonna have to, like.
Well, it's Sterling and Dillashaw, right?
Yeah. Like, I don't think that Sterling can do what Sandhagen can do, and I don't want to dismiss Sterling's wrestling, but I feel like Dillashaw can neutralize that.
Yeah,
I think
probably
he's
fair.
I think he's the better striker of the two.
That's probably fair.
And like, oh man, I think I can see Dillashaw knocking him out. Like, Jan is really not really known for his wrestling. You know, he's more of a striker. He's more like
he's like Jan is a master of sport and boxing in Russia.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, all right. See, so yeah, that's most of his wins come by knocking people the fuck out and wearing them down.
That's Peter Yan. We're talking about Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw
right. But
Peter
like,
Yan's up next. Peter Yan's fighting Sean O'Malley, which is a fun fight.
Leave that to there. As far as like, I feel the difference is gonna be Dillashaw's wrestling and his striking, and I just feel like, what's his name? Sterling's striking, it's just not up to par, man. His wrestling is pretty fucking good. Obviously, look what he did to, like, Jan, you know? No one's ever really done that to Jan, controlled him like that. But I feel Dillashaw's is enough to neutralize that. His grappling, like, he's going to be able to scramble out of that. You know? Dude, if it goes the same route and tries to just take his back and fucking back right him through, that's, fuck, bro, that pissed me the fuck off. I'll be like, dude, like, I don't have respect for this guy.
That's what he said in his post. I saw he posted on social media. I'm flying out, getting ready to hug TJ Dillashaw's back for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Which you know, I'm not gonna be mad at him. I think it's a valid tactic. It's definitely not the most entertaining for me personally, but you do what you got to do. I don't think that he's going to be able to just backpack TJ Dillashaw, though. I think TJ Dillashaw is too good. His anti-wrestling's too good. And so I think that TJ Dillashaw is the more technical striker, but I think that Aljamain Sterling is the more free-flowing, creative guy in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that he'll throw in some spinning elbows and some flying knees and some weird spots. And TJ Dillashaw will probably, like, fight the more technical fight the whole time, right? But the Funk Master is going to keep it funky. He's the Funk Master, you know?
Huh. Okay.
But so you think that TJ Dillashaw is ultimately going to win the striking battle while they're standing, may even knock him out, and he's going to be able to negate Sterling's wrestling.
That's also what I think if I had a bet on it. That's what I would go with.
Yeah. I think if...
I hate to, like, pause, but I got to take a piss.
Go take a piss, bro.
All right.
No. We keep it going. I'm gonna keep talking about what I've going on. So while he goes and relieves himself, I think that Aljamain Sterling is definitely going to be able to do what he wants in the wrestling department. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a walk in the park for him, but I definitely think that he's going to be able to get the back, which is kind of his thing, right? He takes the back in a lot of fights with a lot of guys, and I think that this one's going to be no different. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to choke TJ Dillashaw out. I feel like TJ Dillashaw's submission defense is going to be good enough to hold up, but I feel like Aljamain Sterling will probably be able to win 3 out of 5 rounds with his wrestling and taking the back, and he'll win a split decision, or a majority decision, but it's going to be a decision probably. I don't see him knocking out TJ Dillashaw. I don't see, and if he does submit TJ Dillashaw, it's going to be a choke from the back, and I would be quite surprised if TJ Dillashaw allowed himself to get choked, just knowing the caliber of wrestler that he is. So if I'm a gambling man, right, and I'm trying to be like, what is the most probable outcome for this fight? I would say it's probably going to be a decision win for Aljamain Sterling based on his effective grappling. Yeah, that's what I think probably winds up happening. And then the next fight on the card is Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. And this fight has a lot of hype on it. It's contrasting styles and contrasting personalities, right? Peter Yan is like a stoic Russian, granite chin, like Ivan Dragunov type of vibe, very almost like mechanical in the way that he moves and functions and talks. And he's just very wound tight. Wound tight would be the word that I would use to describe Peter Yan. And then you have Sean O'Malley, who's literally this free-flowing, free-spirited, weed-smoking, podcasting, modern American brosif versus this kind of traditional Russian manly man. Terminator. Exactly. You've got this Russian Terminator versus this American goofball. And it's a big moment for Sean O'Malley, right? Because Peter Yan has literally held the belt before. So this is a former champion. Anytime that you can beat someone who has held the belt, it's a big, big feather in your cap. Tell him about it, Theo. How big a feather. Oh, hey, ain't no kitties. Ain't no kitties here. Hey, are you Theo?
Theo.
Yeah. That's Josh. It's Daddy.
Josh.
And it's Ryan. Yeah, good job, son. Right now we're talking about Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan. Good job. High five. High five. You want to pound it? You pound it for me? Wow, good job. What a big boy. But so,
Yeah.
Sonny boy, you gonna let Daddy do the podcast? It's not his priority right now at all. Hey, that's enough of that. But, so, stylistically, I think that it's a good matchup for Sean O'Malley. He's like a kickboxer, right? And that means that he's going to be able to effectively strike from a further out range, right? And I feel as though Sean O'Malley's footwork is really, really good. And Sean O'Malley is not going to be someone who you can wrangle into a corner of the octagon very effectively. And I know that a lot of the times the way that Peter Yan's able to do that is because he's winning the footwork battle. And so I guess the thing that I'm trying to communicate here is that I believe that Sean, with him having the advantage out at range, will have more room and time to win the footwork battle because the footwork positioning that he wants to work from is further out, right? He's always going to be a step ahead because he's trying to stay out at kicking range. So it's always going to be on Peter to close that distance, right? And so he's always having to play from a step behind. And so when you're having to play from a step behind against a guy whose footwork is as good as Sean O'Malley's, I think it's a recipe for disaster, right? Now, that being said, I don't necessarily know if Sean O'Malley hits hard enough to slow Peter Yan down, right? That being said, Sean O'Malley does have some really impressive knockouts. The way that he starched Eddie Wineland was absolutely incredible. And no one's ever done that to Eddie Wineland. And so he definitely has some special power. And so I guess the thing that's more suspect here isn't necessarily Sean's power, rather it's Peter's granite chin. You know, I don't think there's any question that Sean can hit hard. I think the question is just how granite is Peter Yan's chin. Because I don't think that I've seen Peter Yan sincerely hurt in the octagon once yet. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens whenever these two guys meet up in the octagon. I know that Peter Yan is a master of sport in boxing in Russia, which is like effectively the highest honor that you can get. It's like being a Golden Gloves champion plus some, you know, if that makes. Yeah, well, it's, you know, the Russian government or whoever over there has been like, hey, you're like as good at boxing as you can get type shit, basically. And so, you know, if Peter Yan can get Sean O'Malley hemmed up in the corners of the octagon, I believe that it could be a really good night for him at the office. But that's yet to be seen. That was an awkward noise just came out of the hallway, right? Might be Noe out there just like pumping himself up, doing like some Tim Robbins, some like sacred chi breathing, getting himself hyped for the last 15 minutes of the podcast. Also, I think it's important to note that Noe's prostate is in perfect health right now, because this is not a short piss. This has been like the longest piss that anyone's ever taken. It's the Austin Powers piss. There you go. You know, the wepa. One of the funniest scenes involving piss in any movie I've ever saw was it was like a scary movie or something, and they were ripping off of signs. And I think it was like Charlie Sheen's weird ass was pissing, and something moved out of frame, and he literally stops pissing midstream to lean back and look, and then leans forward and starts pissing again. And it's like, bro, no way. My dick would explode if I ever tried to do something like that.
Starting to get a little yellow in the eyes.
Yeah, straight up jaundice all over immediately. So the fight that I was just talking about, which I was able to get my thoughts out on, what I'd like to hear on your end are your thoughts on the Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley fight.
Okay, that one, with the exception of the loss to Cheeto, which is like, had he not got that leg injury, you know, whatever. How would that fight really have gone?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to take any credit away from Cheeto Vera.
Yeah, exactly.
Because,
especially what he's done lately.
Well, I mean, you know, you see people like wind up and throw a big shot to the chin and knock someone out. Well, he did that to his foot.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like he bit down on his mouthpiece. Son, hey, let me speak. But he bit down on his mouthpiece and threw a big leg kick and hurt him, and you know, and that compromised him as a fighter, and that's that. You know, and so it's not like it was an accident. If it was an accident, I'd feel different about it. But he got injured because Cheeto intentionally hurt him. It's a fight. You know, that's how you win fights. And so Cheeto won that fight fair and square, and I think that it does need to be counted. But there's no shame in losing to Cheeto Vera, right? Cheeto Vera's a beast. We all see what Cheeto Vera is doing these days.
Make a great point, man. It's hard to argue that. Yeah, I guess that's the one, like, you kind of have to, like... Yeah, you're right, man. Like, with what Cheeto's done, it's hard to call that a fluke, you know? Especially, you know, lately beating Dominic Cruz, the people he's beat, Frankie Edgar, he beat the fuck out of, was it Rob Font?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, one of those two.
He beat the fuck out of somebody.
Oh, man, who was that? I know he beat the brakes off somebody very, very badly. But the point is that he's been on a tear. I mean, he knocked out Dominic Cruz. Well, I think he's the only guy to ever finish Dominic Cruz like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can't
take anything away from Cheeto.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm as a person, I don't like O'Malley. Like, I fucking know him. fucking the nerve. It's like, I don't like him. He's a fucking dick. No, I don't know.
But it's like he clearly has a persona that he's putting forward, right?
Exactly.
There's an entire like vibe and demeanor, right? He fits into a category of people that you've met out there in the world. Everyone's met someone who Sean O'Malley reminds them of, right? And the people that Sean O'Malley reminds you of, you have bad experiences with, right? It's like shitheads.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, as a fighter, it's like, fuck. How can you like? You can't deny what the kid's capable of, man. And
what he did to Eddie Wineland.
Yeah, exactly.
Was incredible.
And I mean, when the fuck have you ever seen Sean O'Malley get fucking like smacked clean square in the fucking face aside from the Cheeto fight? Like,
when he was on his back.
Yeah, like he knows how to use his reach and his distance. He's evasive. So for me, it's gonna be like, what's gonna happen in the later rounds? And like Jan's a fucking beast though. So is he gonna hunt him down? Is he gonna pressure on him? Like O'Malley's not a dumb guy, you know. He knows how to use his reach and his length and stuff. So it's an interesting fight, man.
I think it's gonna be a footwork battle.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna come down to, can Peter Yan cut off the octagon and get Sean O'Malley backed into a corner of the octagon? Yeah. Or can Sean O'Malley keep circling and keep his back to the center of the octagon and keep the space that he wants? If they're fighting in a phone booth where Peter Yan wants it, Peter Yan's going to win. If they're fighting out at range where Sean O'Malley wants it, Sean O'Malley's going to win. Yep. And I think that's all going to literally come down to footwork.
Yeah, I just trying to see how it plays out in my head. Like, honestly, man, if I had to pick someone, I fucking hate to say it, but on paper, man, I would probably pick Sean for the upset.
I'm picking Sean as well, but I think that I think it's just because there's an advantage that Sean has by being a kickboxer versus a boxer, right? I think that they both have fantastic footwork, and I think that if the impetus is on Peter to step in, right, Sean's always going to be a step ahead in the footwork battle.
Yeah.
Right? And so I just believe that if Sean O'Malley was trying to box Peter Yan's footwork he'd run circles around him. But he's not trying to box, he's trying to kickbox. You know what I'm saying? And so he's just at a different range. And so every time that Peter ever even tries to step in, he's going to be able to take a step back and reassess and reset, right, the way that he wants to, because in order for Peter to even get into the range where he can start setting stuff up, he has to take a step in, right? And you're already a step behind, because you're having to take a step just to get to where you can start setting your stuff up the way you want to, because you're having to step out from kicking range into punching range. And so that step in right there is an opportunity for Sean to either counter or to set his footwork where he wants it. And I just think that in the game of chess that's being played there, if Sean's smart with it, he's always going to be operating from an advantageous position, just having the longer range and fighting as a kickboxer. So
one of the things that I think about when like with O'Malley though is I don't know, most people might like just gloss over it, and you might be right too, but when he fought Andre Sukumtout, he his leg got fucked up, and he was hobbling on one leg, and then he had that injury with Cheeto Vera. So like again, it wasn't like he fucking got kicked, and you know, like it killed the nerve or whatever.
And what are the chances of Peter Yan throwing leg kicks like that?
I don't think he's ever thrown leg kicks. I mean, aside from the fucking head kick he got on Faber, I can't.
He's thrown some good kicks, but it's not part of his major repertoire, right?
Boxing.
He's a mixed martial artist. I'm certain he's got takedowns in his repertoire too.
Yeah.
But no one's expecting him to go out and take down Sean O'Malley, right? Just like he's got leg kicks in his repertoire, but no one's expecting him to go out and leg kick Sean O'Malley, right? And so, like the places where we've seen Sean get caught in the past aren't the places where we're gonna see Peter putting in that work.
Yeah.
Unless Peter is smart and decides to do that, right? But I think that Peter's kind of I get the distinct impression that he's kind of a bullheaded guy, and he wants to go in there and fight Peter's fight, you know. And I think that's not going to be the way to beat Sean O'Malley. I think you're gonna have to adapt a little bit, and you know. But again, I don't know his training. I don't know what he has going on. I'd love to see if he went out there and leg kicked Sean O'Malley and folded Sean O'Malley up the way Cheeto Vera did, I'd go ape shit. I'd be so pumped. Like I'm all.
You beat a guy like that.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's just if I'm being honest about how I see it going in my mind, right? I just see Sean O'Malley piecing him up from the outside and winning the footwork battle and winning probably a unanimous decision. I think that probably be a 3-2 in favor of Sean. I think that like Peter's definitely going to lose the first round because Peter loses the first round in every fight I've ever seen him fight, and then I think that Sean will be able to ride that wave for the second and third, and then Peter will probably finally start turning the corner and once Sean starts to slow down in the championship rounds.
This is a 5-round co-main?
No, it's not. So it's only a 3-round fight. So there you go. So damn, it's only a 3-round fight. So there you go. I mean, if Peter loses that first round like he typically does, because he's used to fighting boxing fights that are 12 rounds and doing championship fights, he loses that first round, and Sean O'Malley can keep that momentum and win the second round, and Peter win the third round. I could see it being a 29-28 for Sean O'Malley, for sure. But the longer the fight goes, the more it goes into Peter Yan's favor, because the harder it's going to be for Sean O'Malley to keep moving backwards and generating power while he's moving backwards and doing all that movement. But with it being a 3-round fight, I feel like that, as funny as it may seem, I feel like it being a 3-round fight even tilted in Sean O'Malley's favor even more.
Of course, yeah, because he's only got to do so much for so long.
Yeah, exactly. So, now he can put that much more effort into 15 minutes of staying on his horse as opposed to 25. You know what I'm saying? So, the next fight on the card is Benildarius versus Matus Gamro. Man, this Gamro's a beast. Honestly, guys are both beasts. Have you seen Gamro fight?
No, I know he had that one main event.
His most recent main event. I can't remember the other guy's name. The other guy was another guy like Gamro who had a fantastic record but has like a name no one really knows.
Yeah.
And he won a decision against him. I don't know who wins this one. I know that I've been a big fan of how Benil's been fighting. Benil, it seems, a couple years ago really kind of turned a corner. Hey, we're not singing alphabets right now. But there was definitely a point where Benil decided consciously, and he even spoke about this in interviews, where he decided consciously that he was okay with putting himself in more 50-50 positions. Right? He was fighting, and he was always trying to, if he was entering into a position, be in the advantageous position, and was never trying to be in like the wrong position ever. You know what I'm saying? So he could never get caught and shit like that. And now he's realized that he's got to put himself in some of these 50-50 spots where he can shoot his shot to get his knockouts and stuff. And that's why he started getting more knockouts. That's why his fights have started getting more flashy, and it's been a little more fun to watch. Right? And so I don't know who to pick. Yeah, that's the God's honest truth on this one. My heart keeps telling me Benildarius because I've been enjoying watching him fight a lot. My brain keeps telling me to pick Gamro because he's young and on the come up, right? Clearly Benil's the older fighter here, and there's something about being the young buck on the come up that makes it to where people want to bet on you. And there's part of me that really wants to bet on Gamro for being the young guy on the come up right now.
Yeah.
But also, like in my heart, right, I feel like it's Benil's fight.
He's becoming like pretty.
Son, hey, that's enough of that.
What I didn't realize is how like good of a grappler that guy was.
Who, Benil?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking
That was his thing for the longest. That's why I wasn't a fan of him for the like before that switch that I was talking about, where he started putting himself in more 50-50 spots.
Yeah, he's a King's MMA dude, right?
I'm not sure, but I just know that before, years ago, he was pretty much always just grappling, and it wasn't as much fun. And now he's gotten to where he's doing a lot more crazy stuff in the octagon.
Like the Drakkar close fight.
Yeah, that was a fun fight.
Yeah, he holds a win over 2 wins over Diego Ferreira.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
Yeah.
Carlos Diego. That guy actually trains a bunch of my buddies.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, like in my neck of the woods, like where I'm from, he has his gym out there in Far Texas, and a lot of the guys that I've trained with, they're now at his gym.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty wild. Unfortunately, I never got to cross paths with him. You know, but a lot of like my friends train with him now. And then again, another guy that my buddy George fought. Yeah, so.
Damn. Your buddy George just fought everybody.
George fought everybody, bro.
George just fucking fought everybody, dog.
Yeah.
Shout out George.
Shout out George. Hard.
George of the jungle.
His fucking last name's Cortez, and his fucking fight name was Hard. George Hard Cortez.
Oh my god.
The guys in the gym would always give, not the guys, but the fucking the gym where I trained out of, they'd always give him shit about it. Yeah.
That's funny, dude. That's really funny.
George's good, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out George.
Dude, George, get on the podcast. Wherever you're at, buddy.
He's a cool dude, man. He's fucking like not to change subjects, talk too much. That just fucking like
No, how dare you have a flowing conversation on the podcast,
I
motherfucker?
know. Well, the nerve. Yeah, not to go off on a tangent, but fucking George, he was like, I think he got recognized among like they're back where we're from for like being one of the early guys to like really like be competing in MMA like in that neck of the woods and stuff.
Being an MMA pioneer.
Yeah,
in his area.
Yeah, because shit, when I started training in MMA was like 2011, and he was like in his early 30s, and he had been fighting since he was 17. So yeah.
Yeah, so he was definitely an early adopter for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and but yeah, man, he taught me how to throw my jab and shit. Fucking pop your shoulder more and bet. Anyways. But yeah, dude, those are good times. Fuck. But where was I? Yeah, dude, it's I don't really know too much about Gamro. I know he had just that main event, and after like checking the headlights and seeing results,
yeah,
like there was a lot of people were like, man, great technical fight, blah, all these guys, you know. But I never went back and checked the fight out. And
I highly recommend it. It's a good fight.
No shit. I'm usually a lot better about that. I usually follow up and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I've got Fight Pass, bro. I go back and I actually have a list of all the best fights that I've ever seen. Like I keep a best fights list. Got like 250 fights on it. Not
to stray off subject. What's your top 5?
Oh man, I mean, my number 1 would probably have to be Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just because of the historical significance and the significance that it had for me as a.
Not the most technical.
Son, come here. Son, come here. Theodore, come over here. Come here.
Yeah.
And then the 2 fights between Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald.
Oh yeah.
Those are 2 legendary fights. Man, the Darren Elkins, Mirsad Bektik comeback.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was incredible. And then, there's so many epic moments, bro. I mean, Juliana Pena beating the Lioness was crazy.
One of my favorite fights, dude. And, like, no one really gives a fuck about this fight. But the thing was, it was on, like, I think it used to be the Facebook prelims.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been a Facebook prelim. That's how far back it goes. Like, which is not really that far, like, on the fucking grand, like, like, but anyways, or it might have been a Fight Pass one, regardless. It was the early prelim. It was, fucking Marcos Polo Reyes versus...
I know exactly what fight you're talking about.
Huh?
Yeah.
Maestro?
Yeah.
Dude.
That's on my list.
Dude.
That's on my list, bro.
That's one of my favorite fucking fights.
Yeah, bro. That's such a good fight.
What's the guy's name? Maestro Dong Young Kim?
I guarantee you this fight's on my list. I remember putting Marco Polo Reyes on my list. I mean, he couldn't have been on the list more than twice. I don't think anyone's made it on my list more than twice. Anything with Justin Gaethje is fun.
Oh yeah.
Justin Gaethje, Michael Johnson, that was fun.
His debut fight, yeah.
Yeah, Justin Gaethje and the dude that Connor slept, who went to one championship and got slept again.
Alvarez.
Yeah, Alvarez. That was a fun fight. Man, there's so many just epic moments in the UFC, bro, that you can't even start. My head starts to swim the moment I start trying to put together a list like that, bro. I could talk for days about
Mac Rice versus Dennis Bermudez.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, bro.
You know, fucking Mac Rice died.
What?
Yeah, he became a cop. He retired. He became a cop, and I think he's dead, dude. Almost certain he's fucking dead.
Oh my god.
You know who's the guy that I fucking just a fucking like sucks the way his career fucking ended?
How long we been going?
is fuck's his name? TJ Grant. He went back to working in fucking coal mines because of concussions.
Oh,
He got in training.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he was supposed to fight.
And he had like a lot of potential.
Yeah, he had just beat Gray Maynard. He had just beat Gray Maynard after Gray Maynard had Gray Maynard I think had just came off the fight with Frankie Edgar, like the third one.
Yeah, it's enough.
So it was like like it's for title contender, like the contendership.
Yeah.
And then TJ Grant knocks him out, and then he's scheduled to fight fucking Benson Henderson when he was champ at lightweight in the UFC.
Yeah.
And then he has to pull the fuck out because of fucking
Concussions.
Concussions he suffered in training, and he had to go back to work in the fucking coal mines. Imagine that shit. Like, working the coal mines, like, yeah, man, like, I was a contender. I could have been somebody. You give me that fucking, Or people around you be like, dude, you should go back. And it's like, fuck you, my health.
Well, like, it's hard to be like, fuck you, my health, when you're working in the coal mines.
That's... Jesus.
Like,
I didn't take that into
like,
consideration.
bro, you just went from concussions to black lung. Cool. Like, you're... Like, you make better health choices. You know what the lesson there is? Go to fucking school.
Yeah.
Like, don't work in the coal mines or have to fight for a living. You know, that's
I know no shit.
Because that's being stuck between a rock and a hard place right there.
I also don't think he was making enough money, so he was just like, fuck, like,
Yeah, there's good money. There's good money in the trades. People don't realize how much money there is in trades.
Yeah.
But moving forward, so that's the wrap on 280. I do want to talk about the fight cards that are coming up between 280 and 281. So there's a fight night, Caterer versus Allen, Calvin Caterer and Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen's 18-1, bro.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and he's a super great wrestler. I think it's a bad matchup. I mean, so anybody who's that good at wrestling is going to be a tough matchup for just about anybody. So, Calvin Caterer comes from money, and that makes him scarier to me.
Really?
Yeah, like the fact that like most guys are out here, it's like fighting for scraps because they're starving, and this guy's like, no, I'm doing just fine. I just really like to fucking beat people's asses.
What's his upbringing?
I have no idea. This is something that came up in conversation. I might be full of shit, but something that came up in conversation, and someone brought it up to me, and I was like, wow, that's good for him. Go Calvin Caterer. Doesn't need to whoop people's ass, just really likes to. Like, what a fucking savage.
Yeah.
And so him and Arnold Allen is going to be a good fight. There's also Tim Means and Max Griffin on the same card.
Dude, I fucking love Tim Means.
Dirty Bird.
Dude,
Anybody who's a real fight fan loves Tim Means, bro.
I met fucking Kevin Holland after that fight. After the Tim Means fight.
Bro, how interesting a character is Kevin Holland?
He didn't say much. He's just taking his photos with the fans there at the meet and greet at fucking after the fight. But I remember telling him, like, man, bro, I nothing against you. Like, I'm a Kevin Holland fan, but I'm a big Tim Means fan. He's so fucking technical. He's so crisp at what he does. Everything is clean. His hands are where they're supposed to be. Fuck, bro. To watch that guy fight is fucking beautiful. Any position he's in, he's fucking hitting you. When he's at boxing range, he's boxing, pop, 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 pop. He's in kicking range, he's kicking you. As soon as he fucking closes distance and, you've cowered and then he's coming into a shot and then he's all of a sudden in clinch range, you're in a clinch and he's hitting you with elbows or knees. It's just every time, whatever position he's in, he's always in the right position. That too. He doesn't he doesn't overextend on his shots. Like, everything, to me, he's just one of the most technical guys. It's such a fucking shame that his career's always been this, and also that he's fucking old, dude.
Well, I mean, that's just life in the UFC, bro. Bro, it's a Shark Tank.
He made fucking Masvidal wrestle.
Yeah.
Masvidal's debut fight was against Tim Means. And I remember, because I was a Masvidal fan, I remember seeing him fight on Strikeforce, and I loved Masvidal. I'm not really happy with what he's done lately. I feel like he's letting a lot of shit get his head, and it's kind of hard not to when you're that fucking, you become that big, But, what was I going to say? So I was excited when Masvidal came over. And I remember thinking, fuck, dude, that's a tough first matchup, for him. Because Tim Means ain't no fucking slouch. And then he turned him into a fucking wrestler. If you watch the highlights of that fight, Masvidal is getting pieced up by Tim Means. And that guy's ridiculously fucking long and tall. And
yeah, I mean, who pieces up Jorge Masvidal?
I mean,
No.
back then, like, but now, like, yeah, he doesn't look great.
Which, man, that knockout Kamaru Usman put on him, that's like video game shit. The way he knocked the sweat off him,
Yeah,
that was insane.
some movie shit, bro. That was hard to watch.
Yeah. So the next fight night between 280 and 281 following Caterer versus Allen is, well, it's supposed to be Bryce Mitchell versus Masvar Asvilov, but that got canceled. And so now it's just showing Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez, which Neil Magny, legend in the sport. Dude's got as many wins or more wins at welterweight than GSP.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting stat.
Yeah, and then Daniel Rodriguez has been on a tear. Daniel Rodriguez is a guy who I keep betting against, and he keeps proving me wrong.
People think Leach won that last fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He just keeps proving me wrong. Like, he just keeps winning. And then we go to 281, which is going to be Israel versus Alex Bahia, which that's a fun fight.
Oh, shit.
Carlos Esparza versus Whaley Zhang. Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. Man. Dan Hooker versus Claudio Perez. Yeah, the 281 is going to be a fun card.
Not to go back, but didn't Arnold knock out fucking the Kiwi Hooker?
I don't think he knocked him out. I think he choked him. Or I think he put him in like a key lock. Something. He made quick work of him.
Yeah.
He made quick work of him. Dan Hooker's another one of those guys who the UFC's not been friendly to him. Like, bro, all of his fights are against guys who are like on 3 or 4 fight win streaks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but he became part of that, like, that echelon, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got a knockout win over fucking Burns.
Oh, I mean, at some point, you either start winning or you start gatekeeping, one of the two. And he's at this point in gatekeeping.
Your boy's tired.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, Israel Adesanya, Alex Bahia. That has history. That's going to be a crazy fun fight.
What do you think about that one? Your brief rundown.
You know, I can't pick against Izzy. Izzy's my guy. He's a big anime dork. I'm a big anime dork. He's a sweetheart. I love everything about Israel Adesanya. Alex, he's the type who like raises kids that mock his opponent, right? Like his kid literally like acted like he was knocked out next to Israel Adesanya whenever he knocked him out. Yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, Alex Bahia's kid pretended like he was knocked out whenever Alex Bahia knocked out Israel Adesanya, and so there's just like a lack of respect over there, like generally I think in that camp, and so there's just like several like subtle little things that make me not want to pick Alex Bahia, right?
He looks mean as fuck.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a mean human being, right?
Looks like a criminal,
right?
yeah, dude.
Izzy's my guy, and I can't pick against him. Between him being an anime dork and him being a sweetheart and him being the guy who's been holding it down in MMA, between these two, that's definitely my dude. But what Alex Bahia did to
Strickland,
yeah, it's incredible.
that hurt me, bro. I like Strickland.
Yeah.
Crazy bastard. In fact, he used to be a fucking neo-Nazi, apparently.
Oh, I mean,
He's cool now.
oh, I mean,
But that's cool.
That's not cool. It's really not cool at all. Like earlier, I was like, I don't fuck with. Earlier, I was like, I don't fuck with KGB Lee because she fucks with guys who rock swastikas. So, you know, that's not like a polite way to be. And if you listen to his interviews, that's not surprising. He's definitely like a shithead.
Yeah, but he's been open about it. He's like, yeah, I fucked up when I was a kid. I was in the wrong fucking circles, and I used to like believe in this shit. But he's got like, you know, he's got black friends now. He's past all that.
Sure, good for him. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, good for him. I'm just saying, like, you can tell the guy's a shithead. Like, you could tell. Like, there's no denying that guy is like a knucklehead. I just love that he's authentically himself. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I find endearing is that he's like unapologetically himself, and I don't. He's
like an American Bisping.
Right, I've been saying that for a while. It's funny you say that.
Not only do they kind of resemble each other, their fucking demeanor.
Yeah, we're super on the same page. That's so funny. You're the only other person I've ever heard say that. But yeah, I feel that 100%.
He is way more likable than Bisping, though, in this part of his career. were Bisping. People didn't appreciate him until like towards the fucking end.
People didn't realize what was going on with that guy. Carla Esparza, and we got Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. Nothing but great fights on 281.
Poirier and Chandler.
That's going to be a good one. What do you think about Conor being up at like 190 pounds?
Ah, man, I think that guy's got too much fucking money and too much free time. I don't think he knows what the fuck he wants to do. Cause, bro, how do you just sit off like to the side and make all these crazy claims about like he wants to fight this person and that? I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck to say about that guy, man. Honestly, he's got too much money, too much free time, and I think he's a shell of his former self as far as like a competitor goes.
I don't think he'll ever be champion at 170.
Fuck no, dude. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, I think he gets eaten alive at 170.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's see. Name somebody in the top 10 you think takes him out like as far low as we can go. Let's see.
I mean, let's look up the UFC rankings.
UFC welter.
Because I mean, I don't think there's many people. I mean, Leon Edwards, I don't like that matchup. Kamaru Usman eats him. Colby Covington eats him. Khamzat Chimaev eats him. Gilbert Burns eats him. Bilal Muhammad eats him.
You think Bilal?
Bilal Muhammad would wrestle fuck Conor McGregor. It would be the most boring fight, but he would absolutely get a unanimous decision.
Go on.
Might even get a 10-8. Jeff Neal, I mean, he might stand a chance against Jeff Neal, right? But, I mean, Jeff Neal put to sleep Mike Perry, and he put to sleep Vicente Luque. And so, I mean, and those are two guys who had never been finished before. Those are both guys who he finished for the first time.
Nico?
And so I don't think that Conor's chin's going to stand up to Jeff Neal.
I fucking love Jeff Neal. I think he's great.
Yeah, he actually follows his podcast.
Oh really? Well, hey, shout out Jeff Neal.
That's my guy every time.
Dog, his first fight. No, not his first fight, but I remember one of the fights I first saw him fight was he fought Frank Camacho and knocked him the fuck out. And since then, like me and a buddy, one of the guys that I always shoot the shit with about MMA, he's like, "Did you see that Jeff Neal guy?" And I was like, "Yo, dude, he's our boy."
Yeah.
We just like claimed him as our boy and shit. Like anytime he fights, we're always like, "Do you see our boys fighting?" It's like our boys fighting. Like,
yeah,
it's unspoken. We know immediately who the fuck we're talking about.
That's fun.
Jeff Neal. You're the shit, bro.
You're our fucking boy.
You're our boy, Jeff. We got to get a sign up here that says our boy. I don't know. I feel comfortable calling a black guy a boy. I don't want that guy to see me in the streets and fuck me up.
You've heard how subtly racist I've been throughout the podcast, bro. We can say whatever on here.
I know.
You're gonna get some hate mail.
Yeah, or I mean, I can deal with the hate mail. I don't want to get my ass kicked by Jeff Neal.
Oh, bro.
You call him boy, motherfucker.
Bro, you're our boy. We love you to pieces, man. It's not a negative
Spell with the knife. Spell with the knife.
We love you, man. We love you.
It's a term of endearment. But yeah, dude. Who else? After Jeff Neal?
Sean Brady would wrestle fuck him.
Oh yeah, that.
Vicente Luque'd be a fun fight. Stephen Thompson would be a fun fight.
Oh man,
Jorge Masvidal would be a fun fight. But I mean, again, these are like the
was Masvidal ranked 12 or something?
Number 11.
Okay.
But so the fights start getting fun after like 8. They get fun. It's like that could maybe Conor, but anything in the top 5. Everyone in the top 5 eats Conor McGregor for lunch.
Yeah, dude. I mean, aside from like skill, like just sheer size alone, you know.
So, when do you think they're going to get John Jones in?
Rumor is December 28th.
They were saying 282.
282 is when.
I ain't sure what the date is on that. Let's see. You said
the headlines lately have been December 28th or December sometime in December. He's supposed to fight Stipe.
December 10th is 282.
Okay, then I might have been off.
But right now they're showing Yuri and Glover. But from what I understand, they're basically telling Yuri that like, hey, yeah, man, we got you preliminarily set here for that date. But if John Jones is here, like, we're gonna move. You're gonna move to the next card.
Yeah.
Type shit. I mean, it's John Jones, right?
How
exciting is it to see that guy at heavyweight?
Yeah, man. You know what? It's crazy. A lot of people always make these claims about he's the greatest. It's.
I mean,
my personal opinion is it's hard for me to call that guy the greatest only because a lot of his wins are questionable, you know.
I mean, maybe some of his very most recent ones, maybe.
Okay.
But I mean, like, you know, him putting putting Lyoto Machida to sleep.
Oh, all that. Like he literally wiped out that whole like generation of like light heavyweights. That whole era of like light heavyweights. He wiped them the fuck out. All the guys that you saw come from Pride, and the guys who were like the shit, are coming up when like Chuck Liddell was relevant. Like he just fucking went, oh yeah, Machida.
I'm
Shogun.
21 years old and I'm gonna beat your fucking ass.
Yeah, dude. I'm 23, but I mean, fucking whatever. It sucked. He was a fucking kid, you know.
Young and out there whooping ass.
Dude, yeah, like, fuck, dude. Like, if I was in the gym and like some like 21, 22-year-old kid was whooping my ass, I'd feel pretty fucking discouraging, you know? Like, can it happen? Of course. I train with a lot of guys that get the better of me, and I'm like, how old are you? I'm 24. I'm like, fuck. Like, I ain't shit. I really ain't shit.
Just imagine the fucking reality check John Jones would give you.
Yeah, they're sparring me. They're taking it light on me. Imagine getting your fucking ass whooped, like with hitting you with bad intention. Like, Jesus Christ,
wanting to hurt you.
Yeah, you think like, he's 23. What could he possibly do? You know, like I'm a fucking 30-year-old
grown man.
Yeah, I'm the champ. I've been here. This kid's just showing up, and then you get fucking annihilated. Eesh.
Anything else happening in the world of MMA that's on your mind you want to talk about? I know Aspen Ladd got cut. Now she's in PFL.
Yeah, so I think she's gonna try to fight at featherweight, which I'm pretty sure.
Try and go give Kayla Harrison a challenge.
Yeah, I mean,
Good luck.
I'm not. No shit, but I'm not surprised they signed her 145. Especially like, what the fuck else was she gonna do? Honestly, no one's gonna take her as a bantamweight.
She wasn't making the weight, dog.
No. So they would be like, "Fuck you. We'll sign you 45. Fight this chick. People won't want to see you get your ass whooped, probably."
God damn, Kayla Harrison's a fucking animal.
Who else?
Kayla Harrison walked in this room and beat all 4 of our asses all at once. I'll tell you what, if Kayla Harrison walked in this room, I would do my best to shove you into her so that y'all would be fighting, and I would just try and like scamp her out, bro.
I would just, I don't know. I would simp.
I would try and get that Amazon nookie, bro.
Yeah, fucking, why not? Fucking, it's like, you're gonna fuck her, she's gonna fuck me.
Bro, she would fuck you up, figuratively and literally. And on that note, guys, I think us simping over Kayla Harrison is a perfectly appropriate place to end the podcast. Noe, thank you again so much for coming on.
Hell yeah, man.
Give yourself one final shout out to the camera so that anybody who wants to find you online and support you in any way can.
Hell yeah, I wore the one shirt that still fits me. I gained a lot of fucking weight these past couple of months. But it's all right.
Living healthy, man. Living good.
Oh, fuck
Enjoy
that,
yourself.
bro. I'm having trouble sleeping. You can find... fucking sleep at just kicking my ass, bro. Jesus Christ. I'm only fucking 40 pounds overweight. Looks good. You can find me. Yeah. Huh?
What? I said the dad bod is in.
Oosh, I don't know, dog. I'm too fucking short, bro. I'm stout, so this shit don't look good. I don't know. I gotta shed a few.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now.
You're big, motherfucker.
I'm gonna tell you right now. If there's a market for people who want to fuck me, there's a market for people who want to fuck you. There's a market for people who want to fuck midgets. Okay. Like,
bro,
let's just be real, bro.
I'm in between though. I'm kind of fucked.
Listen, bro. You just need to be the most, like, the best version of yourself that you can be, right? Because there's going to be someone who comes along who thinks you're perfect, and you just need to be like ready to receive that.
Yeah,
right?
dude. My like
Ron Jeremy crushed tons of pussy, bro, and that guy looks
Ron
like
Jeremy's senile and going to jail, bro.
And he looks like a weasel. Okay, so if that like skinny whisker having ass motherfucker,
I don't have like a 9-inch hog.
You can lie about that. You can at least like get it in and then be like, sorry.
Yeah.
I told you how to Ron Jeremy dick, but it turns out it's not a normal guy dick. You got comfortable wiener.
I think yeah, I'm 5'4", so I think more than anything they're like, oh, okay, it's not bad. It's better than what I expected.
See, the thing is you could have a 6-inch hog and it would look massive on your tiny little frame, and I could have a 6-inch hog and it would look tiny on my massive frame.
That's the point. That's my
point.
point. Yeah, that's why I like for 5'4", say,
hey, this thing right here is gonna do all right tonight.
Yeah, but nah, my fucking dude, my game is always just to make girls laugh. Like that's my always been my angle is like, and then let them talk. Hey, what are you into? What are you?
Oh, bro, my game is to be completely oblivious and let it fall into my lap when it falls into my lap, if I'm so lucky.
Oh shit, that rhymes with grape. No. Yeah, I just fucking try to make girls laugh, and
bro, if letting it fall into my lap rhymes with grape, then goddamn, I don't know what doesn't rhyme with grape these days.
You going to jail? No,
I'm definitely going to jail where I'm gonna get graped all day.
Yeah, dude. I just work the fucking trying to make girls. I just try to make girls laugh, bro, and hope they're drunk enough to let go of their inhibitions. And it's like, hey, you got to go home now.
Well, hey,
and,
maybe there's one listening to the podcast looking for a fucking 5'4", super funny dude who talks about MMA.
Hell yeah. All right. Find me on social media. NOELOPEZSTX. My Instagram. Don't fuck with my Facebook.
Theo, come here, son. Theo.
Hospula is here.
Theo, come here, son. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye.
Bye. There you go. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.